Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing some coloring, and I told you a while back that I would do some spooky tales. I have new spooky tales, and gosh, Halloween is Wednesday. Today is Sunday, and I thought if I'm going to be telling some spooky tales, I better get on it. We had plans this weekend, like Halloween type plans, and it rained. And yesterday we had plans to go see a horror host hosting a movie down in Detroit in this historic theater. And the host was the Ghoul, and if you're from Ohio or Michigan, you might, or Pennsylvania, you might be familiar with him. He unfortunately has become ill and had to be hospitalized, so the event was canceled. And then today we were going to go to Greenfield Village and walk around and look at their Halloween decorations and all the pumpkins. They put out 3,000 pumpkins every weekend, and it's raining, so it's just not our day weekend. So I thought I would do this little Bride of Frankenstein picture in this Halloween book by Deborah Muller. And yeah, so I guess I could turn it more so you could see. I know there's a glare from my light. It's very gloomy and everything today, so I'm going to be coloring in that using Inktense. It's for our Fall Freakout Color Along, which ends tonight, is the last night of it. And I did a picture yesterday, and I posted it on Instagram and the Deborah Muller group. It's got some Wink of Stella and Inktense and markers I used on that one. So I thought I would do this one too because I love Bride of Frankenstein, anything, and it's so cute. I have my happy, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, Halloween, let's see if we can do this just a little bit, Halloween mug that I got for, what is this, Halloween? Yes, Halloween. And it's got apple cider in it, so I am feeling at least a little bit seasonal and everything. So my plan is to just color this picture in its entirety on camera. I probably will break it up into parts, but probably finish it today or tomorrow, because it's not going to be too difficult. And take a drink of my cider here. It's tasty. It's not hot cider. I'm just drinking cold cider today. So I'm going to use my Derwent Inktense. Just a disclaimer, I am not a professional. I just have been getting used to the Inktense. I was gifted them by my lovely friend Mona, and I really enjoy using them, but I don't know how to use them really. I mean, I just kind of jumped right in. I've seen a few videos on it, but I'm just going to go ahead and do my thing. So if you see me making mistakes or doing things wrong, you don't have to let me know. It's okay. And on this Create Space paper, it definitely, you have to be careful of how much water you use. I was using them yesterday, and the paper was really getting kind of waterlogged. I think with the Inktense, that's my biggest challenge, is learning how much of the Inktense I need versus how much of the water I need. Kind of just like just learning to get used to that. So I've got my glasses on, and I might zoom. Oh, that's out. I don't want to zoom out. I want to zoom in a little bit. There's my picture. The water brush I'm going to be using is one from Royal and Langnickel. Just an inexpensive brush I got from Hobby Lobby. And in a set of 3, I think they were $5.99. And I know there's a shadow. I apologize for that. There's really nothing I can do about it. But mostly we just listen to Color and Chats anyways, more than actually watch them, I think. So I do have a paper hereby too to wipe my brush off on. So I am just going to jump in. We're going to color her. I'm going to do her skin first. I don't know why I always seem to do skin. I'm going to use the shade Hooker's Green, which I don't really know what that means exactly. I'm going to turn the book here. And, oh yeah, too, I was going to do my nails before the video because my nails look terrible. And I just said, you know what? They don't care. You don't care. You guys probably have chip nail polish too, so whatever. So hopefully the shadow won't make it too bad, but I'll move my hand away every once in a while so that you can see what I have going on. So I'm just putting down the pigment, the Inktense pencil here. And then I'll go ahead and activate it with the water. And then usually once it's dry, then I go back in and I shade or highlight some more with pencils again. So I'm just putting down like a basic layer here of pencil. So, okay. Let's talk some spooky stuff. So a while ago, you know, my mom, she's been living on her own since her husband passed away. He's been gone for 3 years now. And my mom is not the type of person to discuss spooky stuff. She is not into horror. She's not into scary movies. She doesn't like any of that stuff. She often tells me that I was switched at birth. She doesn't know how I got to be the way I am. You know, she's just not into anything even remotely paranormal related. She just isn't. And another thing about my mother is she's quite practical. I mean, she's imaginative and everything, but she, for example, mostly she reads fiction, or nonfiction, I'm sorry. She doesn't read fiction very often. She's not, I'll zoom in just a little, oops, wrong way again, a little bit more. There we go. Mostly she reads nonfiction. Movies that she likes are based on true stories, that kind of thing. She's not a person that likes to talk about ghost stories or anything like that. I mean, she just doesn't. So, that being said, I mean, and she never does. She never wants to be involved in spooky campfire tales, anything like that. She's just not that way. So, I don't know, it was probably a good couple months ago. We were out, Keith and I come out there, you know, regularly. We take her out to dinner. We go do errands that she needs. She doesn't drive in certain parts of town. Like, she doesn't like to drive on the freeway by herself anymore. She doesn't drive after dark. So anything she needs done that's where she's not comfortable doing the driving, we'll take her and get it done and all that kind of stuff. And I don't remember if we were at a restaurant or if we were in the car. I want to say we were at Cracker Barrel, of all places. And somehow we were talking about, I don't know, a scary movie or something that Keith and I were interested in watching. I can't remember how the topic got on that kind of direction. But she said, well, you know, I saw something once. And I was like, what do you mean you saw something once? And she goes, I saw something once, but I'm not saying it's a ghost, but I saw something once that I don't understand what it was, and it could be a ghost. And then she said something kind of funny. She said, or maybe it was a memory of, I was seeing a memory in time. And I was like, okay, you can't just say this. You have to explain it to us. And I'm like, why am I just now hearing that? But that's how my mom is. You know, she'll be like, oh, well, I know. She'll tell you something that just astonishes you. And then she's like, well, I didn't think it was anything anybody was interested in or something like that. So anyways, she said, well, I never really wanted to talk about it because I didn't really know what it was. And I still don't know what it was. And she said, you know, I don't necessarily think it was a ghost. And we're like, okay, well, why don't you tell a story and we'll be the judge of that. So she said that in the 70s, and I'm gonna not use the actual names of the people involved in this because people on my, some of my mother's friends are on my Facebook, and I share my videos to Facebook, and sometimes they watch my videos and I don't, you know, I just don't want to upset anybody. So my mom said in the 70s, one Sunday afternoon, she went to go pick me up. I had spent the night with my friend Scotty, who was a boy, but it was, you know, I was still in the 70s. I was born in 1970, so it was probably like You know, I don't know. I wasn't very old, 9, 10 years old, something like that. And she went to pick me up from his house, and she had to drive through town to go to his house to get me. And we lived in a really, really small town, and like a population 500 type town. And she was driving through town, which, you know, she just going slow because I think like the speed limit's like 25. And she got to the little grocery store. It was called a Red and White grocery store. And they had a bench out front. And she said to herself, she saw a boy sitting on the bench outside the grocery store, and she knew the boy. His name was Paul. And she said the reason why I knew this. The reason why she knew the boy was because my mom worked at the school, and she knew a lot of the kids in the high school at that time. But this particular boy was the son of a teacher at Onstead. I probably shouldn't have even said where I'm from, but I think it'll be okay. And she saw the boy, and she said, well, there's Paul. And that was it. You know, she just kept going on her way, and she noticed him sitting on the bench outside the store. Now, this was Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon. So she went and she picked me up. And I'm going to go ahead and use my water now and activate it. And then don't worry if it's uneven, because we'll go back and fix it. All right, I didn't mean to interrupt the scary story. So she went ahead and she picked me up. And on our way back from, you know, my friend's house, we stopped at the store to pick up whatever she needed. And I don't remember this, but she said what happened was when we got up to pay, there was a can, like a coffee can on the counter of the store. And it was a donation can for Paul and some other kids. Their pictures were on it. And my mom asked the person in the store, what is this about? And he told her that those kids were killed in an accident on Friday night. And they had put the can up sometime Saturday evening to help raise money to cover the costs of the funerals for the kids. So they were teenagers, and they had been in an accident, and they were all killed. And my mom had just seen him sitting on the bench outside the store when she drove by to pick me up. And my mom says, I'm not saying that it was a ghost, because she doesn't know if she believes in ghosts, but she said maybe it was like a moment in time that was frozen, you know, that like Paul had come down to the store sometime and sat on the bench, and somehow she was seeing a memory or something. But she says she knows plain as day she saw him sitting on the bench outside the store, but he was killed, you know, a day and a half before then, and she just didn't know it. So there's that. And it's just, you have to know my mother. She is not the type of person, I'm going to do her little hand here. She is not the type of person that would say that. My mom, she doesn't look for attention. She doesn't look for, she's just not that kind of person. She wouldn't just say that, you know what I mean? And I was like stunned, you know, when she said that to us. We were like, wow. I mean, because that's kind of a creepy thing, you know. So now I'm going to do her hair. I'm going to do black and pink and white stripes. So I'm going to do the pink and the black, and then I'll go back in later and do the white with like Posca or gel pen or something like that. So that's what I'm doing right now, is the hair. So yeah, that's my mom's story. And I was like, well, she didn't ever talk about ghosts and spooky stuff, but when she did, she sure laid a doozy on us, right? Because that's creepy. But then she was like, don't you ever tell anybody, you know, which here I am telling a bunch of people, but, you know, nobody that I think, you know, is gonna know anybody that we know, that my family knows or anything. Just because it's sensitive, because, you know, the person, the son was you know, the boy was the son of a coworker of hers, and people that we knew and people in the community, and you know, she would never want to hurt anybody's feelings or upset anyone. So she said she never talked about it, you know, until that day. I think we were in Cracker Barrel when she told us. So then there was another incident, of all things, with my mother that was unusual. She went, not this summer, but the summer before that, she went to Colorado for about 2 weeks with a family friend of ours. And they did like a road trip, and they went to Colorado, and then our family friend lives in Colorado, and then she took the train home from there. But while she was gone, we went out to her house a few times to get the mail for her and make sure that, you know, the house was okay and everything like that. And we went there while she was gone, you know, and we started to go in, and Keith said, wait. And he like put up his arm, and he didn't want me to go in. And he said, what's going on? And he said, I heard something in there. There's someone in the house. And I'm like, what do you mean there's someone in the house? And he said, I heard someone in the house. I heard someone, the door opens up into the living room. He goes, I heard someone in the living room all of a sudden rush up or rush out and everything. Well, her back door had been having problems locking before she left for her trip, and her handyman was going to fix it for her, but he was busy. So Keith had rigged up the door with wire to shut it and keep it shut. And so we thought immediately, like, somebody has probably come into the house through that back door. And so he opened the door slowly and looked in, and he had me wait out on the porch. He didn't want me to come in. So he went in and he looked around, and he didn't see anybody. And when, he told me I could come in, the back door that he had rigged up with wire was closed, and the handyman at some point had been there because the wire was taken down and everything, and the door was locked. But when he first came in the living room and walked towards the back door and saw that the wire was taken down, he thought immediately that someone, had gone into the house and through that way. But we looked all around, and there was no sign of anybody. And he kept saying, there was somebody in here. I heard their footsteps. I heard them as soon as I put the key in the door and started to turn it, whoever it was heard the sound and rushed away. But there was no sign of anybody. And I never saw anybody come around the back of the house or anything like that. And Keith was rattled by that. I mean, it really rattled him, and we weren't really sure what to make of that. And so, but there wasn't anything missing. There was nothing, misplaced or awry or anything like that. And so then, we didn't tell my mom about it because we didn't want to scare her, or anything like that. We just kind of chalked it up to one of those weird things, you know. Well, then, also recently, she said to us, just out of the blue, and I mean, this was so shocking to me. It would have been like if my mom said all of a sudden, I'm going to sell my house and join a cult. You know what I mean? I was just like, what? She said, I saw an apparition. And we were like, what? She said, I saw an apparition in the hallway outside the bedroom. And I was like, what do you mean you saw an apparition in the hallway? And I said, what did it look like? And she said, I don't know. It was just white. It was all white. It was a figure, and it was in the hallway outside the bedroom. And she goes, I guess I could have dreamt it. But she said she was laying in bed, and she looked, her bedroom door was open. And she said she could see out into the hallway, and she said there was a figure there, like all in white. And she said, maybe I was dreaming. She goes, but I wasn't scared. It didn't scare me or anything. And I said, well, did it just disappear? And she said, I don't remember what happened. She goes, I don't remember if I closed my eyes and then when I opened them again, it was gone, or if I just got scared and told myself to go back to sleep, or if it just evaporated. She was like kind of fuzzy on the details of what happened. So she's like, well, it could be maybe I dreamt it. Maybe I dreamt it. And I was like, well, I don't know. But we thought that was kind of strange given the fact that, what Keith had heard that day. And Keith swears that happened, and I know he wouldn't make it up. So, yeah, I don't know. Okay, I gotta drink some cider again. But it was just kind of strange. But she insists, she wasn't scared of anything. I'm cleaning my brush off on this, paper to get the green off of it. She insists that she wasn't afraid, of anything. So, which is good because that's her house, and I don't like the idea of my mom being afraid of. Oops, I went out of the lines a little bit. I don't like the idea of her being afraid of, anything in her own house, and my stepdad, he did pass in the home. He was on hospice. And he passed it in the house. Actually, I was there when he passed, and so was Keith. And let me just say, no way, shape, or form do I think that my stepfather's ghost is haunting the house or anything like that. I don't think that. My stepfather was a wonderful man, and I believe his spirit is with the Lord, not haunting my mom's house or anything. So I don't know exactly what that was, I'm not sure. But I don't know, just something kind of unusual. See, now, like right now, I think I have a little bit too much water, but that's okay because it's making streaks. But I can go back and smooth it out later. And where I go out of the lines, that's okay because I'm going to color the rest of her hair black. You're not going to be able to see those lines anyways. So yeah, I just definitely think the story that my mom told us about seeing the boy outside the grocery store on the bench is very unsettling. I'm not sure exactly, but she swears it really happened, and she knows she saw him, and she believes it to be true. And I believe my mother, because my mother is not the kind of person that would say something that wasn't true. Oh my gosh, I'm out of lines there. My mom just isn't that way. You have to know her. She's like the most the least dramified person ever. She's just sweet and good, and she wouldn't say that just to say it, you know. And the fact that it happened in the 70s and she didn't tell anyone about it until 2018 because she was afraid of upsetting someone or hurting someone's feelings, or, you know, she just didn't want anyone to know about it. You know, that's my mom. And that fact that she kept it quiet for all those years lets me know that she, you know, she's definitely telling the truth about it. So, okay, I'm going to get the next one for her hair, which is the black, but I think I will, shut it down and start up. It's just easier for me to upload. I know I say this all the time when I'm under 30 minutes. So hang tight and I will start again.